Oh, I'm Matthew Martin, and the news is good. Tonight, Jesus was a man. There's a rather famous moment in Jesus' ministry, recorded at the end of Matthew 8. Jesus has been on a boat with the disciples, and a terrible storm rose up. The Lord, being awakened, stood and rebuked the wind, and told it to be quiet, and then it did. And after that, the text says the disciples marveled at his command over nature, his power and authority over weather. Matthew 8:27. I don't think any of us would think twice about that event, and certainly not at the fact that the disciples marveled over Jesus' power. I mean, wouldn't you? If you saw the Son of God command a storm to cease and watch the storm obey, you'd marvel too. But go back in the chapter. Go back to the beginning of the chapter. There is a centurion, a Roman, who meets Jesus and asks the Lord to come and heal his servant who is sick and in terrible pain. And the Lord said he would, and the Roman said basically, no, don't bother coming all the way to my home. You only need to speak the word and it will be done. That's Matthew 8, verse 9. And upon hearing that, the text says, when Jesus heard it, he marveled. Verse 10. Unlike later in the chapter, when the disciples marveled at Jesus, I wonder if this one doesn't make us go, huh. After all, men marveling at Jesus makes sense. He is God. But here, Jesus is marveling at a man. What's up with that? I think this text is a good reminder that Jesus was a man too. Yes, he's God in the flesh, but that doesn't mean he was God pretending to be a man. It means he was, and in fact is still, a man. Jesus acted and reacted like people, not necessarily like the Father in heaven. God is a spirit, but God became a man, and thus was no longer just spirit. Now he is flesh and blood. And that makes him like us in a way he was not before the incarnation. So he marveled. He also wept, and he laughed, and he cried, and he was tempted, and he endured, and he suffered, and he died for us, a man, for all mankind. Thank you, Matthew. We now go live to our correspondent out on the field. Thank you, Matthew. Today's Bible reading comes from John chapter 6, beginning in verse number 5. When Jesus lifted up his eyes and saw a company come to him, he said to Philip, "Where shall we buy bread that these may eat?" Jesus is first and foremost at this part of his ministry a rabbi. He is a teacher, and he has students, namely Philip. And here, though he knows exactly what he's going to do, he's about to feed 5,000 men plus women and children, he still asks the question to Philip because he wants Philip to think about what he would do if he was the rabbi. And Philip says, we don't have enough money to buy bread for all these people. And then the Lord does the miracle. And I promise you the next time Philip finds himself in a situation where the natural answer seems impossible, he will remember that he serves a God who does impossible for dinner. It is February 24th, and I am in the wiggle room of the Vilonia Church of Christ. Just a room full of toys and things for children to play with whenever they're here at our building. But there is this banner hanging on the wall that says, I am a child of God. And it's appropriate. You can see why they would hang something like that here in a room that is usually filled with a bunch of little children. And of course, famously, our Master says, suffer not the little children to come to me. Allow the little children to come to me. That was in an era where children should be seen and not heard. And so any child wanting to approach a rabbi when he's in the middle of teaching would be shushed and shoved away. But Jesus says, no, little children are like the kingdom of God and the citizens of that kingdom. So bring them here so I can show them as an example, as a model for the kind of people I'm looking for. And so when I see something like this, of course, my mind goes to child, little child, child of God. But I'm reminded that I, 42-almost-year-old me, I am a child of God. And I'm not a little toddler anymore. I'm not playing with toys anymore. But I am looked at by the Father in heaven as his son, as his child. And I need him, and I have such dependence on him as a little baby has dependence on his mom and dad. So when I see a banner like this, yes, of course, I think of little children and their sweetness and their loveliness, but I too am a child. My prayer for you is that you will remember that you also are a child, that you are made by God, made in his image. He is your Father. He desires a relationship with you. Let him be your Father. Let yourself be his child. Fall into his arms. Be dependent and reliant on him, and just see how all your stress and anxiety will go away if you will. God bless.